worth of networking and content and learning, and we get to bring all of these phenomenal people. Like, I want you guys learning in these, but I want you guys hitting each other up on LinkedIn and building community afterwards. Just go in and say hi. Like, this is all in the name of connecting patients with care. That's why we are all in this. The cool thing about healthcare marketing is that the marketers that are in this field are largely driven by a desire to help patients get well.
The ones that you hear, they're in it for their careers. They join, they switch from consumer packaged goods or, automotive or whatever. And once they get in healthcare, they don't leave. They love it. It just makes you feel good when you wake up.
It makes you feel good when you wake up, when you go to sleep, if you sleep, because there's like a deeper mission, right? If the PPC campaign's not launched, if the landing page looks like shit, if we're not tracking conversions, that's like a real patient. That's a mama that can't find care for a teenager. That's a dad that can't find care for his father needing help with assisted living. So there's all kinds of really important missions here. And so that's the cool part of what we're all doing here. And yes, scaling them is cool. Yes, the panelists are very smart, but at the end of the day, it's connecting patients with the care that they need. So this is cool. It has a higher meaning to us. It is part of our mission at Cardinal to connect 6 million patients with care by 2028. This is a big way of how we do it, is by learning from each one of you guys. Also, don't forget, everybody that's in attendance, we're learning from you too. So we'd love to see you guys in the chat. The coolest thing I think about last year was all of the conversations that were happening in the chat.
We missed them, but we got to see them afterwards, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
People were answering questions in the chat, the two attendees answering each other's questions.
That's what it's all
Really
about,
neat.
guys. That's what it's all about. So feel free to engage in the chat. This thing is about you guys. Look, we got 100 people. I love this. All right, this is gonna be gangbusters. This first session, our keynote's awesome, and talk about lifelong healthcare marketers. All of them are exactly that. So they all believe in the mission. This is gonna be really fun. Guys, enjoy the next 2 days. Panels, prezos, debates, everything like that. That's gonna be cool. Lauren, when you look at like 24, 25, not 25. When you look at this,
Ahead,
like,
I
what has
guess.
been, and everybody can see this is refracted, so they can see our notes. I love this.
Way to point it out,
When you
Alex.
look at this year, so Lauren's our Chief Growth Officer. Y'all already know her. That's why I didn't introduce her. Lauren's our Chief Growth Officer. She talks to every mid and large client that comes in the door at Cardinal, and so she's heard all of the gripes and the plateaus. What have been the resounding themes you've heard this year where people are getting stuck?
Yeah, I mean, and I heard a lot of this repeated in the prep sessions that we did with our panelists, and you guys are going to hear more about it today, but the space has just gotten super crowded. You guys all know that your costs on paid search have risen. It's gotten harder to get to the top of the search results page. Your, meta ad campaigns are costing more. It's because every consumer is using digital to make their healthcare decisions nowadays. So gone are the days of, I have access, I'm convenient, I'm in your neighborhood, I take insurance. Like, those were the easy things to say back in 2020. You have to meet your consumers where they're at. And I think these patient journeys are getting more complex. You have to understand their fears, their barriers, why they might be choosing you over a competitor, really, truly defining how your brand is different.
It's going back to marketing.
Yeah, it is. It's
And
bringing us back to our roots.
You have to go inside the patient's head and say, why are they choosing us? Why are they not choosing us? Have the technology, but also the marketing art to understand what is your value proposition. Just because you're an orthopedic surgeon is not good enough anymore. There are 3 down the street.
Yep. Yeah, it's super crowded and everyone is using the digital space. You've got AI results, you've got kind of this self-diagnosing mentality. Like, the consumer knows how to use the internet to get health information. You've got to be a little bit more sophisticated. I think with that comes kind of this other trend that we've noticed, which is, also gone are the days of just, I'm going to run PPC and it'll be enough to drive my business. You really need intelligent media solutions. You need to be thinking about full funnel. You need to think about speaking to the audience further ahead in their journey. So how do you spend your budget? Do you spend your budget on this kind of machine that's dollars in, leads out, or do you think bigger picture and do you think longer term about how you're going to build a self-sustaining marketing engine?
Yeah, it's gotten more complicated. When we started Cardinal 15 years ago, Lauren's been working at Cardinal.
11?
It feels like 38 for her. But for me, just one short year, 11 years. And when we started together, it was easy. You just ran a PPC ad. You could send it to the homepage and you would get a patient. I mean, it was so easy. Now, you can't even just do PPC. So like you said, like paid social, and then that brings on all kinds of other complexities trying to advertise across the whole patient journey. Like, marketing teams in-house have to develop their creative muscle, their tracking muscle. CEOs are asking for what is the value of that meta ad, and they're like, oh my God, it doesn't work like that. So a lot of these issues that our CMOs are coming up with, Guys, you are not alone. There's going to be other kinds of issues that we've seen this year, and it's not just on patient acquisition. What are some of the other plateaus?
Yeah. I mean, the talent shortage as just a theme has not gone away. There's just a greater need for people in healthcare than there is the number of appointments available. And you guys are constantly fighting for, hiring the best talent out there. That's a theme I think that's been here since 2020 when, during the pandemic. And so what we're really finding is the response to that has to look like, how do I spend my patient acquisition dollars where my business can actually take new patients? I hate to see a client running a campaign at a location that can't see someone for 16 weeks. I see these crazy timelines to get an appointment, and the patient is kind of getting ostracized by that experience. And you're wasting dollars because they're going to go somewhere else where they can get an appointment sooner. So the talent shortage is definitely still a challenge. And I think in order to solve that, in order to really, market against capacity, you've got to have, operational alignment. I think that's going to be the other theme coming out of this year. We're going to do a whole session on MOPS, how marketers are becoming more than marketers. They're becoming experts in IT, in HIPAA law, and in how to operate the business. They have to understand that at its core.
Yep. Yeah. Putting the hip in HIPAA since 09. Yeah, guys, y'all's jobs have gotten incredibly complex and difficult. It's incredible how many hats everybody has to wear. And so when Lauren mentions MOPS, that's a term we heard of Scaling Up last year, marketing and ops alignment. And so we're going to be talking about that pretty heavily here at 10:15. Shit, we're 1 minute over. All right, guys, let's get right into our keynote address. Let's go. Oh, I'm still vamping. That's what Austin called it. Guys, we have the best AV team. I love them. We're all set up. This is cool to give everybody context. We are down on the Beltline in Atlanta, and the Beltline is like the Chelsea High Line of New York. Yeah. It's actually developed similar, Pond City Market developed by Jamestown, which are similar developers. They did both of these redevelopments. And it's really cool. We are in a telephone factory.
Old telephone
factory. 1938. This was a telephone factory. Telephones. Telephones are the things that people used to pick up and then they would run their finger like
How do you answer the phone? Do you answer it like this? Do you answer it? This is how they do it nowadays.
Yeah. That's crazy. Actually, I don't even put it to my
You just
and then do you remember telephones in the 90s when someone would call in, you'd be like, Mom, get off the fucking phone. I'm trying to play StarCraft. Beep, 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 beep. All right, guys, enough of that nonsense. So we are getting right into this. Do we have our speakers in here, Austin?
We're going to bring them in. Let's go ahead and introduce them.
I love it. All right, guys, we got heavy hitters. We got 4 heavy hitters here coming at you. And these are people that are running their marketing divisions of their companies, medium and large, and some of the brightest minds I've ever met. I know them all personally. They're extremely sharp, and they're going to come here and we're going to talk about high-level trends. We're also going to talk about the really cool data and ops alignment things that they've done over the last year and what they're looking forward to in 25. 24 has not been the easiest year.
No.
You've had interest rates are up. A lot of our clients and friends are private equity back. Interest rates are up. The election every 4 years, it always creates this consternation, and you see just investments slow down. So in 2 weeks, things will start picking up again. But 24 a pain in the ass here.
You said no politics, Alex.
I said no politics. Well, it's I didn't say it. And listen, this year, no matter who you vote for, you're going to lose. We're all kind of losing a little bit. So looking at 25, a lot more optimism because we're going to have this stuff behind us. Interest rates are starting to come down. And so we're going to talk about 25 trends that our team here is looking forward to and what they're going to be investing more in. So they're going to be really fun. Guys, we got Mary Considine from Acenda. Mary, you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
What's up in Philly?
Morning, Mary.
Morning.
Good morning. What's up? We got Matt Fitzgerald from 10. What are the coolest DSO? I don't even know if I'm allowed to call you a DSO because they call them studios, not clinics. All right. So let me get my words right. Ryan Torreson from Peak Dental, phenomenally smart, knows the operations really well. Chris Pace, our Senior Director of Digital from Banner Health. Woo! Okay. I'm going to let y'all do your intros. Mary, tell them who you are, where you come from real quick. Give them the Acenda background.
Certainly. I'm Mary Considine. I am the Chief Marketing and Development Officer at Acenda. We are largely behavioral health in the state of New Jersey with about 100 different programs and across 56 different locations. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks, Mary. We got to hang out in Nashville. Now we get to hang out again. Mary's getting tired of seeing me. That's okay. All right. Mr. Fitzgerald, what's up? What is
Hey, how you doing?
Where are you at?
So my name is Matt Fitzgerald. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at 10. I was part of the founding executive team of the business. So we build de novo dental studios, currently have went from 0 to about 28 today, up and down the East Coast, starting back in 2019. And what Lauren said earlier rings true. I was at HelloFresh before this, so I made the leap into healthcare, and it seems to have gotten its claws in me pretty good.
My
HelloFresh,
favorite.
That's the delivery.
Yeah. And I just have to say, Tend is like my favorite consumer healthcare brand. I have been following them for years. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I posted about my experience the first time I went to one of their studios about 2.5 years ago. So anyways, just an amazing brand to look at from their digital experience.
Oh, stop
We built them just for you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Matt. Just open another one right by my house. Okay. I'll do your location spotting for you.
She goes to the Buckhead one just because you guys allow rescheduling by text. And she
It's
can't make up her
amazing.
mind, so she uses that all the time. Probably the least favorite patient. Chris, what's up in Arizona? What time zone? Where are we at?
What's up?
We'll be 2 hours close to each
On
other. What's
Sunday.
going on?
It is 7:20 a.m. here. So you pulled me out of bed. Working from home. I had to put on a fancy shirt for the first time in a while. So but I'm so honored and humbled to be here today. So a little bit about Banner Health. We're a pretty large health system based here in Phoenix. We're in 6 states. We have 30 plus acute care facilities and about 55,000 happy employees that are here to serve the healthcare needs for the Mountain West. So just honored to be here with these panelists, and a little bit of imposter syndrome, I'm going to say. So I'm going to do my best to keep up with these guys.
No, you're good. 6 states, that's a lot. And you have to think about patients and what they care about across different states and ideology. Wow. So we'll catch up on all of that. I get imposter syndrome every day. I wake up and work with her. So I'm very used to being the imposter. Ryan, you also put on a fancy shirt. Thanks, buddy. How's things in Jacksonville?
Morning. Yes, this is the fancy shirt. The Jacksonville is good. So I'm Ryan Torreson with Peak Dental Services, 60 offices or so in Colorado and Texas. And then I've been in the dental game for probably pushing about 12, 13 years now.
I see we have another Jacksonville fan. How are the Jaguars doing this year? We just shouldn't talk about things that make us feel sad, right?
Yeah, they're not good, but I'm from Michigan originally, so I'm really a Lions fan. So it's a good year for me.
Oh, all right, there we go. All right, we're all happy. All right, guys, we have a poll up there. This is always fun. Do all of our attendees have access to the poll right now, Austin? Yes, you do. Okay, guys, I want y'all to go to the poll. We're going to take a quiet second. This is important because it'll help craft some of the conversation. We want to know, yes, like we went ahead and crafted a lot of this agenda based on what our panelists have going on and what we've seen on our podcast Ignite and live streams and all the conferences we've been to, but it is always most fun to see right now in point of time, what is keeping you guys up at night? Ooh, patient line. All right, let's see where we go on 20, 30. Ooh, this is fun, reaching the right audience.
The
Might
lines are
win
just
this.
moving.
Report ROI. Oh, I bet it's our data team. Okay, let's see. Clicking on ROI. All right. Okay, HIPAA compliance. No one cares anymore.
Well, hopefully they've solved it this year.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
I think we moved on. It's cool. Some of the regulations have gotten rolled back, and I think people are feeling a lot less scared than they were and figured out a number of different things. All right. We'll end the poll, Austin. Reporting on marketing impact and ROI, number 1, low patient volume, number 2, or reaching the right audience, 2 and 3. What do you make of that, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what we said in our opening session. There's, the need to reach the right patient. You're diversifying your mix, which is making it harder to measure. You've got to make the case for why you're playing the long game, not the short game. Alex is taking a picture of the poll as if, we don't have the ability to screenshot it later. And then just still the volume. It's just competitive out there. You've got so many more players in the digital space. So you've got to be a little bit more crafty on how you increase your volumes. And right now, a lot of businesses are looking for year over year same store growth. It's not all about increasing efficiency. It's about growing.
Yeah, and proving it. I mean, look at what won at the end of the day, ROI, proving ROI. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We can stop the share if you don't mind, Austin, and we'll get right into the conversation. That's incredible. I mean, I'm sure our sponsors are all our tech vendors that help with reporting and reactivation. So we're going to love seeing that. That ROI is the biggest challenge that we have. I think partially probably brought on by the macroeconomic factors. There's a lot more pressure being put on marketers to prove every dollar. And that makes things doubly tricky when you have to expand into channels that don't provide the direct attribution.
Yeah, we're going to do a session on it later. So we'll dive in if you guys are around later today. Join our session on media mix modeling. Maybe that's actually tomorrow, where we're going to talk about alternative ways besides just, last click or multi-touch attribution.
Yeah, I love it. And we've run experiments with our clients and it really works. All of the stuff you guys are doing for brand building 10's really big on that. So that's really cool. All right, Lauren, kick us off.
I think, the opening question we wanted to put to everyone on the panel, and I'll kind of go around, is, the role of the marketing leader at the organization has changed. We talked a lot about operational alignment. You guys are experts in IT, HIPAA law. I'll start with you, Matt, just kind of in general, how do you see the role of the marketing leader at Tend? I know you're one of kind of the founding members of the executive team as well, so you wear many hats. Talk to us about kind of your advice for other marketing leaders listening in.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to make the pitch internally that the word marketing is actually a little antiquated in today's, operating environment. I was actually speaking to a general partner at a consumer agency and also VC firm. And when I just kind of listed off all the things that a marketing leader does these days, he's like, wow, you're not just distributing ads anymore. I mean, when you start to look at the digital product on the site, CRM systems, a lot of the back end analysis, maybe around patient satisfaction and kind of constant improvement. So I think you just have to have a far greater skill set and kind of toolkit to be able to operate both digitally, offline, kind of throughout the patient journey, right? You're not just handing off to ops. You really aren't, right? You're trying to create a successful one-to-one interaction with the clinical staff, at least at our physical locations. And so I think it's a little limiting to kind of box yourself in as just a marketer when you really, in a modern brand that's growing, you kind of have to deliver that exceptional experience across from first touch to hopefully a retained patient long-term.
Matt, have you come up with a fancy new word for it yet? Can we
No,
coin
the ones
it?
that
Is this going to be?
I wish. Some of them I disdain, but people throw out chief revenue officer, chief commercial officer, chief growth officer, which certainly could be inclusive of a geographic strategy of expansion. So there are some, I think, that are more reflective of a modern marketer's plight.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Ryan, in the dental space as well, would love to hear kind of how what you see as the marketing role at Peak.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I think Matt touched on a lot of it, but marketing is no longer just, hey, do the digital buy or the television ad buy from back in the day. You really have to own top of funnel to bottom of funnel. So that is schedule the patient and then validate the ROI that they actually showed up and got the procedure done. So with that in mind, like you need to know system flows. Like Matt said, you got to work with the operations partner big time now.
Yeah.
And I do think people are still looking to marketing to be relatively a thought leader still in their organization or in their space. So as marketers, we do need to be probing things like, hey, what's the AI technology? How am I going to bring that in? Maybe it's can help my call center because it can translate the language right on the call automatically. And I don't need foreign agents. They can still be US based, but they can speak Spanish automatically. Down to, just other areas in the business and how can you use it, right? Like AI to create videos, things like that. So marketing's kind of morphed into that realm there. It's patient flows, understanding the operations. And then what I would call is like still do the day job, right? Make sure you still create the ads and everything.
Yeah.
Crazy that the day job is
the
job.
The day job is just the thing you do in your sleep, right?
Mary, do you have a COO that you're partnered with that you have to meet all the time? I mean, y'all are so big that you've got to be driving demand to the right locations with the right capacity for the right service line. How do you balance all that? Do you have a business partner there?
Yeah, absolutely. Several. And I think, I definitely agree with what they just said. I think it would be wonderful if there was a different word and a different name. I think that would help with my interactions, particularly with operations. I think, there's these antiquated views of marketing. And when we're working with other C-suite members and other people on our teams, we're not always speaking the same language. So when we're using marketing to refer to essentially what we do, they may be looking at marketing as ads and, kind of like their perception of marketing. So I am with you on the new word. Let's find it and get it rolling. But I think, in terms of working with, with operations, I mean, there has to be, strong alignment, because I think the goal for all of us is scaling sustainably. So we need to have clear communication about capacity limits, resource availability, and, where we could see any potential bottlenecks. So, it's really setting realistic targets and not overextending, but working with our ops and programming crews and able to do that. At a team level, we're looking at our plans against operational data. So we know, where we're pushing for growth and where we may need to kind of pace ourselves a little bit. So I think overall, it's just really having a lot of that communication, utilizing the data, and having that shared goal that sustainable growth is going to maintain the quality of our programming and, help us maintain the experience that our consumers expect. So it's definitely working in that partnership. So vital and so important for us.
Chief Experience Officer also.
Put a poll out by the end
Yeah,
of day 2,
yeah.
and we're going to get everybody's opinion on what it should be called. And then we're going to decide at the end of scaling
No,
up.
what's our new, what's
Yeah,
our
I love
Chief
it.
Growth Officer? That's why we called it, because you do everything. Chris, by the end of this session, we need a new title for all you guys, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't know that poetry was going to be on 7:30 a.m.'s test. Chris, at such a big organization, how do you measure all of these things? How do you make sure ops is getting what they need? You have you don't just have one CO, you're probably dealing with lots of capacity constraints at different locations. How do you get this done? How do you know where to place emphasis?
Yeah, and we have a unique challenge because in Arizona being one of the fastest growing states in the United States, and Phoenix, in that still rocket ship mode, we don't have a demand problem. And there's more than enough demand for everybody to capitalize on. The challenge we have is, as a nonprofit healthcare provider who, oh, by the way, has like Mayo in our backyard and all these other big health systems, it's really boils down to no margin, no mission in nonprofit healthcare. So it's really about attracting the patients that drive the most opportunistic contribution margin, while we still serve the needs of the folks that we need to as a nonprofit health system. So it's about finding the right growth and attracting those customers to the points of access. And that's really, from an operations perspective, it's having conversations with our ops team, our access team, to really identify where access exists, because we have a lot of providers that are 9 months booked out, 12 months booked out. You can't solve that problem with marketing. That actually makes it worse. So it's really trying to find, in a precision marketing mindset, identifying those right target customers and bringing them into the doors that are actually open. So it's a bit of a unique challenge, but data kind of solves the problem. And I think that's where this legacy of marketers being known as promotions people, and in health, dinosaur legacy healthcare, it's really like PR teams that have been foisted into the modern marketing machine and trying to keep up with trends and keep up with demands. But I think at the end of the day, data helps you get out of the guessing game.
I like that. And my favorite part of that, no margin, no mission. At the end of the day, that's the point, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit, private equity backed, or, or mission driven. At the end of the day, no margin, no mission. We have to be driving patients where there is care that can be provided. So yeah, that's awesome. And you have to apply that and look at the whole swath. While we're on this topic, because it's all about talking and making sure that we're aligned with ops, do any of y'all have a quick tip on how you align with, how do you break down silos? What has been your magic mission? Because ops generally gives a lot of pushback, and I'm going to roll IT into that as well. They don't want to go with online scheduling because the providers don't want their schedule, all of that. Do you have any quick tips, guys, on how you break down those silos with ops, IT, et cetera?
Yeah, I can jump in on that one. I mean, it's old fashioned, right? Talk to them. Reality is they're facing business challenges too within their silo. Those are eventually going to roll up into the company goals and what we got to accomplish. And so ops, I've always found, or, particularly ops, if we can make their life easier, they are willing to have that conversation. And that's kind of the way that I approach it with them. IT is a little bit different because they function a little bit differently. But sometimes with that IT conversation, same thing, like I probably can't make your life easier, but let's talk about, again, system flows, how's this going to work? And then, what's best for the business. And then if you get the IT pushback a little bit, I think you do have to be firm and hold your ground and say, hey, that's great from a tech standpoint, but legitimately, like, this is how I need this to flow so we can move this forward. So I think it's just good old fashioned conversation and making your point solid.
I like
Yeah.
it, Ryan. It's the why. It's how you negotiate or have conversations with anyone in your life. Like, here's what I need, but here's why I need it. We're, looking to accomplish a shared goal, and that is to make the patient's experience better. Matt, I know this is big on your plate because you own the kind of product side, which is obviously very heavy IT in kind of TEN's online scheduling product. And I think I would also love to hear your thoughts on alignment with kind of de novo growth, because I know that's a way that you guys are continuing to meet patient demand.
Yeah, there's a lot here, and I agree with kind of the frequency of communications, right? Clarity, purpose, really important. But one thing I try to stress with my team specifically is just kind of almost a mentality shift. There are going to be times where the marketing organization, which is inclusive of our call center as well, is going to take the lead, right? They're going to be the lead stakeholder in a project and rolling something out. Maybe it's launching a new studio. Maybe it's in kind of influencing site selection and name, right? Because if you miss by a block, it can be crickets. And so sometimes we're the leader, right? And then you have to govern a process a certain way. But sometimes we're in support of the organization. And so often with operations, that kind of service leader mentality can be really constructive, right? We give them lots of opportunity to provide feedback. How your studio's doing? Are there any slow ones? We've even built programs called like Support Our Studios, where we expand channel mix to maybe help a slower studio and make sure that regional director or the studio manager feels the support. But we come at it with a very low ego, high collaboration mentality. Because too often I've seen, ego get in the way and someone just wants to win or be right, as opposed to, well, what's the larger context of the organization and what are we trying to achieve? So that part's really, really critical. Where we also help is on the de novo, which is we're working on something called propensity modeling right now, where basically we're looking at all the patients we've ever had, the good, the bad, right? It's a consumer business at the end of the day, so you get a wide range, and we're really trying to figure out of the 28 we've built now, we have enough where do we have, because it's basically 28 versions of product market fit. So where are those studios placed that are just thriving, and maybe where did we just miss or could have been better, right? And that's just part of the challenge of building de novo. You have to have a bunch in the pipeline before you've even opened your first door. And so now we're really trying to sharpen the pencil on how we're allowing our own 5 years of data coupled with third party to see if we can't kind of evolve how we are doing site selection, how do we launch them, and then how do we kind of scale them within a market to try to de-risk, those future openings. Because when you build them new, they don't come with staff and they don't come with patients. So it's actually a very risky proposition.
Matt, kind of sticking on that theme, and then I'll go around to the rest of the group. I love, you mentioned propensity modeling. We're going to be doing a whole BI session just later this morning, where I know that this topic is going to come up. And, you've got that kind of to help you inform some of your de novo site selection. What about the digital product experience, that kind of online scheduling experience, the different touch points that someone needs to go through, not overcomplicating it, but getting what the business needs?
Yeah, we have been relentless from day one, though. That's my own background, though. So I was at HelloFresh before this, and conversion rate optimization was a religion there, and they drove a very hard program. And so I tried to bring the best of hardcore direct-to-consumer logic into more of a healthcare setting, and so partnered with our technology team to build the site and the booking experience, and so that it is as seamless as it needs to be. Sometimes we actually want to introduce some friction. And so we've done a lot and we have a third-party patient management system. We work with Dentrix Ascend. So we've had to do a lot with their API endpoints. Sometimes Henry Schein is friendly and will open up their endpoints. Sometimes they won't. And so sometimes if you do get a hiccup or two in booking, it actually comes down to kind of what are they permitting that week. But it's been really important to us that we're blending the digital and the physical experience. And people, when they select a dentist, both at the category level and at the 10 level, it's because we're in network with their insurance. Normally at the category level, then it comes down to kind of the credentials of the staff and clinical outcomes. If you assume that that is present, people then come to 10 because of ease of booking, the convenience. We're open 6 days a week, long hours each day, and then the friendly, trustworthy staff. So that digital first kind of modern booking scheduling experience, coupled with a strong CRM support to kind of move you from booking to chair, is something that's very valued by our members. And we work at it every day. We have live funnel tests going on now about the calendar step, site selection, just the visualization of it. So it will never stop as long as I'm here, at least. But it's kind of fun to see how you can optimize that to make it even more efficient.
It's interesting to get non-healthcare perspectives. I like when someone comes in to a healthcare role. Sometimes, we'll get new clients that join from a consumer background, and it is a breath of fresh air. And then you've got the lifers, you kind of marry those together and you get the best of both worlds, which I think is great.
To use fresh air as a pun. For fresh.
I did not.
I think
but-
that's going to be delivering dentistry in a box to our homes.
I mean, that'd be great. I'll have to leave my house.
Mary at Acenda, what are you guys doing? Like everything's shifting digital. Every patient wants digital first interaction. What have you guys done to meet the patients on their journey where they at the right point in time?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just do it all. I mean, we have so many different avenues to entry. I would love to say that with lots of things, we're digital first, but we're still working with largely traditional making a phone call and setting up an appointment as well. And so it's integrating all avenues into, kind of one seamless experience. It's funny because my daughter lives in New York, and she needed to make a dentist appointment. And so Tend was there, and it was so easy to make the appointment. It was seamless. It was
Just a
digital.
10 promo session.
But I think through like our behavioral health lens, our consumers are looking at it very differently, where there are some that do want that very quick and ease to make the appointment. But then there are others that want that long phone call, want to know the history of the clinician and all kinds of, what color's the waiting room, all kinds of stuff. So, I do think it's having kind of that mix and being aware of that mix and not trying to push too much into all digital, because we know we definitely have that consumer that doesn't want to go that route.
Yeah, digital can't be the only thing. And Chris, you guys have a high acuity service lines like that. For me, is not probably, is it online scheduling, the phone? Like, how do you know where to prioritize CTA? Do y'all have online scheduling at Banner? How do you weigh your different conversion touch points? What do you guys do there?
Yeah. So, and the trickiest thing isn't so much presenting calls to action. It's the templates to which you schedule with the provider. So at Banner, I believe there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 180 different scheduling templates that need to be applied, in different use cases. So scheduling with the primary care might be an easier workflow because you've got considerations on new versus existing, sick versus well, but that's, kind of the gist of it. Whereas, you get into a highly specialized neurosurgeon. I mean, you shouldn't be self-scheduling with them, first of all. I mean, that's usually a referral pathway, but even like a shoulder specialist, you want to make sure that your leads are qualified. So as you send somebody through a online booking journey, you don't want someone with, ankle pain to go to a shoulder specialist, because that's going to require rework or, potentially a frustrated experience. So, I think where we draw the balance is, things that are easy are best served in a self-service capacity. Things that require high touch and a dose of empathy, humans are the best pathway forward. So, we do balance the mix, and we're pretty heavily skewed on phone as scheduling first. I think we field something like 10 million phone calls a year, somewhere in that neighborhood. But the coolest thing about where we are in call center data is you have this gold mine of unstructured data that if you can convert it using LLM or whatever technology you have in your stack, you can glean a ton of insights on what might you do in the next at bat to serve that customer in a more delighted way. So, one of the things that we're working on is really taking the terabytes of unstructured data that come through in the voice channel and turning that into a structured capacity that we can then use to service and grow in a more thoughtful way.
It's nice to hear that humans are still needed.
I don't think that'll ever go away, but
Ugh,
yeah.
I don't, I don't know. I question it. My wife is ChatGPTing the answer to everything. Should I stay with my husband? I just hope it gives the right answer every night. That's cool. And so the call center is paramount, the training, the operations. Ryan, this is when you first came to Peak, we started working together. That was one of the first places you dove in. It wasn't the digital ad buying, thank goodness. That was running well. Ruchi is the best. Ryan, it was actually diving in to make sure leads were actually flowing through and becoming booked appointments. Is that what made you clue in there? What did you do to optimize all of the conversion points?
Yeah. So initially, right, like the good news is Cardinal, right? You guys have great tracking top of funnel when it comes in. We internally have to make sure we can track it from there all the way down. So the way we kind of work, right, is existing patient goes to the office, new patient goes to the call center. So it really just has everything to do with once you understand the flow, kind of like what the panel's all been talking about, the flow and the touch points and when they all come in, you're just looking for where am I dropping the ball? Where are we not as efficient? And so that's going to be schedule, show rate, when they did show, what did that treatment plan look like, average revenue per procedure, et cetera. So once you start looking in there, circling back to like that ops conversation, you get into great, if the handoff is to the call center here, marketing did their job in theory, great job, kudos, cost per lead's good. Everyone likes that. I don't so much look at things like impressions. Nobody ever believes the 3 billion impression number. And then really just from there, it's just like I said, just tracking it through the system. Hey, great. Like Chris was saying, how effective was my call center? We have a great relationship with Patient Prism. They're analyzing those calls with AI and everything. It can serve up, like Chris was saying, hey, this was a missed opportunity. It was actually a new patient opportunity, but we dropped the ball. Because at the end of the day, the business impact metrics, that's what everyone's going to care about. So to answer the why do I look there? At the end of the day, as much as I got to drive leads, I got to make sure, use the old fashioned term, right? You're getting butts in seats or whatever is what people say. But we just want to make sure, hey, it's working. And then, from there, that let us into what some of the panels already talked about. What does capacity look like at each office? And like in our world, oral surgery generally will be a referral versus a, direct patient booking, things like that. So then you just start playing with your, as you know, Alex, like what we do with the Cardinal funds. Then we start shifting things around. Hey, this office is booked out for the next 120 days. Take those dollars, put them over here to an office that can get them in within the next 10 days or something like that. It's just a better stewardship of the marketing budget is what it comes down.
Is looking at the end business metric. By the way, shout out to Patient Prism. We have phenomenal sponsors, guys. These are the leaders in all technology. You'll have to go check out the booths and hear from. Amal's going to be speaking with Amon from Varsity, which is awesome. They're going to be presenting a case study. Very cool. That we got Line, Call, Rail, Bravium, and Red Spot Interactive, guys. These are the machine. When we saw on the poll, ROI is the hardest thing to prove, guys. A lot of these technology partners of ours help make that happen so that we all stay employed and get more budget the following year. Lauren, what else did you want to touch on? We got so much.
I want to know from Mary, we're talking about all these different technologies and leveraging patient data and going in and finding those breaking points. Behavioral health is a very sensitive category, and you have to make sure you're using that information in a way that builds trust and doesn't degrade it. Like, how do you think about identifying those points and potentially working with clinical staff as well, just to really make sure that you're building trust?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, like our blog, we call it the Mental Health Resource Center, is our most successful top of funnel tactic. So, for us, it's having lots of alignment and lots of collaboration with our clinicians. So they're able to inform us on, what we should be talking about it and how we should be talking about it. We kind of have this like clinician as translator type of mentality where we're not assuming that we know what to talk about. We're really kind of digging in deep and really trying to get their insights. And then we are turning it into kind of plain knowledge that, is easily digestible, to really anyone. And, we've done a lot of different things to do that. We've come up with a whole strategy to involve clinicians a little bit more into our work in marketing. But some of those things, the easiest things have been most successful. portal on the intranet where clinicians can just feed us ideas. They don't have to do anything else. Like there's no writing, no nothing. Yeah, you just have to feed us ideas. And that's all. That's what we need. And that's been very successful for us. And just kind of, developing that communication and, understanding, because they're on the ground. They know what people are looking for. And, we know the digital space, we know, keywords, we know, we can do all of that. But I do think we have to work together. And I think it does bring it back to that human touch mentality, not just talking in terms of digital and data, but also in terms of, the real human experience and what that feels like. So I think it's kind of morphing all of those together, to have a more successful marketing strategy overall.
Mary, that's it. I love the idea of the portal. I see like the thumbs up popping up on the screen here. People are like, wow, that's a really cool idea. How does any of that come into play with recruitment? Like, does the marketing function support recruitment there? How much are you guys kind of helping to plug those gaps in the organization as well?
Yeah, I mean, at Acenda, we have taken a larger role in recruitment than we thought we would ever, so it really has been, I think all of us, when we talked on our panel call, workforce challenges are just huge, I think, for all of us in healthcare. And so, having marketing be a key piece and a partner with your recruitment team has really been vital and has really moved the needle. More investments in employer brand, more investments in, advertising, recruitment, all of that. But on the marketing side is certainly, something we've been much more involved in that than we thought we would ever be a couple of years ago. But I do think it's been very successful. And I know the other panelists have similar challenges as well.
Chris, are you getting tapped to support recruitment or acquisition at all?
So I would say yes. And I think really where we align best is on brand attributes and really everything centered on Banner's mission, making healthcare easier so life can be better. And initially when that mission statement was launched, it was around the customer. And, that's a pretty bold shift from where, I guess 8-10 years ago, where healthcare systems were. It was all about outcomes and, like we're number one, chest pounding messaging. And Banner took a different approach. And I think where we're at today in our cycle is we've recognized after the pandemic that teams are burned out. It's hard to recruit people. It's and it's also difficult to make a sticky experience for healthcare consumers. So our mission statement, in my mind, has really transformed into a statement around what are we doing to make healthcare easier for everybody that is engaged with Banner, whether it's an employee on the inside, a clinical member, or a consumer. And I think that's really where Banner is going as an organization. And this is where I think marketing is going to become a crucial partner in all of these conversations, is how do we translate our brand and our value proposition so that we're making the recruitment experience easier, we're making the employee experience easier, we're making the clinical experience easier so that we can make it easier for consumers. And I think it all is symbiotic in the end. And I think that's where marketing, is a great business partner. And we think about things in a pragmatic way that are not tactical. And so we can really have these dialogues to help support all angles of the business.
Yeah, making Banner easier to access for whether you're looking for a job or looking for care. I love that. And we're getting questions. JC Johnson, thanks for the questions. And this is live. I mean, let's dive into a few. I couldn't read the end of some of those questions. Matt, I think you were looking at some of them, so help me if I screw this up. But I saw questions on MarTech, and then I also want to ask where you're going to invest more in 25, my fellow panelists. So let's go around and answer. Matt, favorite piece of marketing technology, and where are you investing more in 25?
Yeah, well, it's actually the call center. I kind of took over the leadership of that earlier in the year, and we've really kind of transformed that function. But we're using a vendor called Level AI which is able to score all our calls, assign them a disposition, real-time sentiment analysis, screen mirroring. So we actually can go really, really deep into the calls to help train our agents to then get them sharper in terms of scheduling and patient need and just kind of the quality on the phone. It assigns kind of the satisfaction score at the end. So that's actually been like a huge development given just the sheer call volume that we're able to drive. And we wouldn't be able to do that. I think we're going to be doing two newish things. I would say we're going to be really increasing our investment in SEO and kind of content creation, right? Dialing up our clinical capability and credibility a bit more, and looking at some options in syndication. Actually, how can we attempt to use like earned media and organic coverage for broader distribution in our local market? So those are two areas that are kind of actively being scoped as we speak.
I love that. SEO is not dead.
Alex,
I started
Alex
this.
is so happy to hear that.
I started this as an SEO company 15, almost 16 years ago. So thank you. Still alive and well, still drives patients. You guys looking at it as awareness or a patient acquisition tactic? It sounded like, Ken, you really go for brand. Is it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I think what we want to do is kind of just increase awareness and kind of traffic to site. I mean, as you would know, Alex, SEO is a million things. It's not one article on a blog. It's, site speed and how you're building the back end and how many links can you drive. So there's just a totality. We've done this a few times. It's just that, we have a board that does not want to give money to Meta and Alphabet, if that surprises anybody. And so they have challenged us to find alternative pathways here. And that's certainly one of them.
Tell the board there's no avoiding it.
I tried.
They're gonna get your money. Ryan, favorite piece of technology and thing you're investing more in next year?
Favorite technology is probably two right now. We have piloted it. It is through Patient Prism, what they call it. I call it Web Lead Connect. I'm not sure what they totally call it, but it's the form fill comes into your website, but now it connects to an agent in 60 seconds or less. So we're definitely intrigued with that because we think that'll help us book more appointments going forward. And then a person on my marketing team, we have started to play with creating videos through AI. So instead of sending the shoot there and trying to line up a doctor for a day or so, which we still do, it's, some of those other requests, can we knock it out with AI and create it all from quote headquarters and it be very lifelike, things like that. So those are probably the two technologies that we're playing with the most right now.
Good. Practical application of AI. Yeah, where are you investing more in, AI or something else next year?
Well, so we have a couple different challenges for next year. I do believe that we need to invest into digital to the point of diminishing returns. We're not there yet. So that is one area that if we can get the company moving that direction, I would like for it to go. We do need to update our websites. Those templates are like 10 years old and things are breaking all the time on them. So that's another one that we got to put into the old 2025 plan. And then selfishly, I just kind of look at advancing down the road, like Matt was saying, it's like, I know content is going to be the key here. So I already kind of tipped the hand on the AI video. The other one, and I haven't done it yet, when we talk about doctors and explaining procedures and stuff like that, there is augmented reality or virtual reality that I think comes into play. And I think that there's a way to build that in. I don't know if that happens in 2025 or if that's a 2026 type thing, but that is definitely piquing my interest of an area that I'd like to probe.
Yeah, very cool. I haven't heard that one yet. All right, very good. Mary, we said we got 2 minutes, and Chris, be ready. Mary, favorite piece of technology where you're investing more next year?
I mean, I would say technology wise, we have invested a lot in our internal. So we have a new ticketing system. We kind of act as an in-house agency. And so we've put a lot of investment, both, brain investment and monetary investment into building a product where, the ticketing system, when requests go right into our project manager, everything is assigned and we're able to kind of like seamlessly, work as a in-house agency. It's been really great. And it's been well worth the investment of time on that. Favorite technology other than that, I mean, next year we're definitely investing more into brand building. I mean, that's going to be a key investment that we'll be making. And, you know, just some exciting things. I know virtual reality was just mentioned. That's one of the things that our team, our training team is working on, and really utilizing virtual reality to train a lot of our clinicians in a new and different way than ever before. So I think that's some exciting technology as well, and a great way to implement it.
That's awesome. And the in-house agency, the ticketing system's good. For a house of brands with a ton of affiliated providers that all think their thing is the biggest thing that day, that would be really cool to have. So guys, y'all looking for a new agency, hit up Mary. Chris, favorite piece of technology, what you're looking forward to investing more in next year?
Yeah, so right now, Adobe Customer Journey Analytics, we finally have web analytics after an absence for reasons we won't talk about today. But the one that I'm looking most forward to is you know, it feels kind of dated to say this, but customer data platform, CDP, it's a must. We'll have it in 2025. Building it out in a federated way across a big organization's not easy. So, but we want to do it right, because I think it has the biggest impact we could possibly have going forward.
Why?
I think it's because it can serve the needs of just about every patient touch point across the care continuum, from call center to frontline to you know, feeding back to our analytics and insights team, so that we can precisely find the next prospect on the next
Love it.
leg of the
In a
market.
HIPAA compliant way. That's a big
Always.
benefit of CDP,
Always,
guys.
yes.
Yes, and we have several recommendations there. We love them. You probably don't want to say who you're going to use, but we'll come. You know, that's cool. We made it through 46 minutes. Only mentioned HIPAA compliance one.
I'm glad it's behind us.
It's, yeah, well, not for these guys maybe, but like most, it's not the main talking point anymore. That shows how far the healthcare marketing community's come in a couple of years. And thankfully, some of those regulations have been rolled back. We got to roll into the next one. Panelists, I can't clap, it'll screw up the sound, but thank you so much. This was a great way
So good to
kick
see
it
you
off.
guys.
And it was very cool to hear all of your wizardry tricks on how to align with marketing and sorry, with ops. And we need to find a new title.
These are
Brand
the
technology.
themes for the rest of the 2 days.
Yes.
So everything you guys said is so relevant to the material that's to come. So if you guys are listening, stick around, check out the Zoom schedules, find the you know, sessions that you are most interested in based on this discussion, and we'll dive deeper.
Because right now we're doing first party, third party audiences. I saw this presentation at Shushman. It's awesome. Panelists, thank you so much. We owe you one. Cardinals AV team, panelists that are coming on later. Thank you all so much. Scaling up 2 days. We just kicked it off with a badass session. Let's keep going. Thank you.
See you guys.
How long do we stare at this? Are we still on? No, we are. Just keep staring at us. I think Austin calls us damping. Hey Hala, how you doing? This was so good to see friends. We got to see Hala.
hey.
That's very cool. I saw Aaron was in there. Hey Aaron. JC, I don't know if we know each other. Hey Stacy, what's up? You're gonna be presenting.
Yeah, we got
today?
Stacy.
I think today, Stacy's today.
She
From
says, yep.
Vanity Metrics, I think we're talking about from Vanity Metrics to Real Impact. That's gonna be really fun. Tomorrow, I'm introing you, I think. So I should know that. This is gonna be awesome, guys. So roll in. I think we've got another session coming up right now. And this one's good. I saw.
I know, I'm excited.
thought
I'm going to
Pep talk-
introduce Alex. He's, I mean, one of just the legends.
He's the
of
better.
Cardinals.
He's the better Alex. He's the better one at Cardinal. There's 3. So I won't, you know. Gonzo's also awesome up there with Kemp. And they're going to be Kemp. This presentation's cool because it's like the most advanced targeting technologies and strategies and stuff to.
Yeah, and it's
the
cool. We,
PPC drug.
you know, you heard in the opening session how much the patient journey matters, how to use your first party data, and then how to source third party data to, you know, improve that.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
It is because you run out of, I call it getting off the PPC drug. You run out of the most efficient patients to acquire through PPC, and then you have to layer on new audiences and different way of finding them with your own data, keep it compliant.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan
That session's
mentioned
awesome.
kind of maximizing, you know, hitting the point of diminishing return on some of the bottom funnel strategies, but then you've got to kind of think about where else to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is fun. And then they mentioned CDP. You guys are gonna be talking about that in the BI session here in a couple hours. So this is awesome, man. I love this. I could vamp all day, Austin.
think
How,
we're
how much
gonna-
longer am I doing this shit? Okay, we're gonna keep going. Oh,
we'll
shit.
get Alex.
Who's
in
everybody
here.
voting for?
Alex. Oh my God. I hope
Don't put
everybody
that in the
gets
chat.
closed out.
What are some of the chat? We can do chat answer.
Oh, we're going to the next one?
They're
Okay.
getting me out of my awkward monologue now, guys. We're going on to the next one. Enjoy the fire. See you later.